Welcome. Today we're doing a deep dive straight into Hosea chapter 4. And it starts strong.
It really does. The Lord has a charge, a serious accusation against the people of Israel.
And it gets specific right away about why.
Exactly. The text says basically there's no faithfulness, no love, and crucially, no acknowledgement of God in the land. It's like the very foundation is missing.
Wow. So no foundation. What happens then? What does the text say?
Well, the results are stark. You see cursing, lying, murder, stealing, adultery.
Just a total breakdown.
Complete breakdown. It says they break all bounds, and violence just leads to more violence. Bloodshed follows bloodshed. It's chaos.
And it's not just the people, is it? The text mentions the land itself.
Yes, that's fascinating. The land mourns, the people waste away, and even the animals, beasts, birds, fish, they're dying off too. It connects human sin directly to the health of the environment.
There's that line, too, about the people being like, those who bring charges against a priest. What's that getting at?
Well, it feels like, maybe everyone's blaming the priests, but the issue is so widespread. It hints that the corruption is everywhere, maybe even that accusing the leaders is pointless when the whole system is broken.
Right. And that leads to maybe the core reason given for all this destruction.
So it's that famous line, my people are destroyed from lack of knowledge.
Lack of knowledge, not just any information, right? It means something deeper.
Exactly. It's about understanding God, acknowledging his ways, his law. They've rejected that knowledge.
And rejecting that knowledge, ignoring God's law, what does that mean for them, especially the priests?
Well, the consequence is severe. God rejects them from being priests. And he says he'll ignore their children, too. It's a generational consequence.
That's heavy. The text also says something about them increasing sin.
Yeah, the more the priests increase, the more they sinned against me. It's backwards. And they exchanged their glory for something disgraceful. They traded honor for shame.
And that line about them feeding on the sins of the people, that sounds really dark.
It is. They essentially profit from wickedness. They relish it, the text says. So the leaders are actively benefiting from the people's corruption.
Which brings us to that phrase.
Like people, like priests.
Yeah, it's everywhere, top to bottom.
Exactly. And God says he'll punish both. No one gets a pass.
How does this, play out day to day for them, according to the text?
It gets practical. They eat but never have enough. They engage in prostitution, but it doesn't lead to increase because they've fundamentally abandoned the Lord.
And there's a connection to wine.
Yes. Old wine and new wine are said to take away their understanding. So indulgence leads to confusion, makes things worse.
Which seems to push them towards idols.
Right into idolatry, consulting wooden idols, asking sticks for guidance. It's described as a spirit of prostitution leading them astray from God.
The text even mentions specific places, doesn't it? Mountaintops under certain trees.
Oak, poplar, terebinth, places with pleasant shade. It highlights their choosing comfort and convenience, often in places linked to pagan worship, over faithfulness.
And this decay affects families directly, daughters-in-law.
Yeah, turning to prostitution and adultery.
But then there's that really surprising part. God says he won't punish them for it. Why?
It's quite shocking, isn't it? The text explains it's because the men themselves are doing the same, or worse. They're consorting with harlots, sacrificing with shrine prostitutes.
So the men's hypocrisy and leadership failure is so profound.
Exactly. It creates this totally corrupted environment where the women's actions, while wrong, are seen in the context of the men's primary responsibility and failure. It's a powerful indictment of the male leadership.
Wow. Okay, so for a people without understanding, what's the final outcome?
The text is blunt. They will come to ruin. Simple cause and effect. No understanding equals destruction.
And Israel's described as stubborn too, right? Like a heifer.
Yeah, a stubborn heifer, resisting guidance. The text asks, how can God possibly pasture them gently, like lambs, when they fight him so hard?
It makes the situation feel almost hopeless for some. Ephraim is mentioned.
Yes. Ephraim, representing the northern kingdom, is joined to idols. And the command, leave them alone. Chilling. It suggests a point of no return.
And the rulers, no better.
Nope. They love shameful ways. They keep doing corrupt things, even when sober.
It all culminates in this final image.
A whirlwind sweeping them away. And that their sacrifices, the things meant to connect them to God, just bring them shame in the end.
So pulling these threads together from Hosea 4, what's the big takeaway?
I think it's the undeniable link the text draws. Lack of this fundamental knowledge of God leads directly to moral chaos, corrupt leadership, and eventually the ruin of the the people, society, even the land itself. It's all connected.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? What can this ancient text teach us about the importance of, well, real understanding, integrity, and consequences anytime, anywhere?
It definitely poses a question for us today. We're drowning in information, but what crucial kinds of knowledge might we be missing? What understanding might we be rejecting? And what could the consequences of that ignorance look like in our own world? Something to chew on.